My mother texted at midnight. We've all agreed you're no longer family. So by 6 a.m. I had canceled every policy, stopped every payment, and they woke up to foreclosure notices on Christmas morning. Hi there. If you enjoy heartfelt stories like this, hit subscribe, drop a hi, and let us know where in the world you're joining from. Let's get into it. The phone buzzed at 12:47 a.m., December 24th. I was finishing gift wrap for my nephew's PlayStation, the one I'd worked overtime 3 weeks to afford. Mama's name lit up my screen and my stomach dropped before I even read the words. We've all agreed. You're no longer part of this family. Don't come for Christmas. Don't call. You're dead to us now. I read it 7 times. Each word carved deeper. My hands shook so badly I dropped the phone. For 34 years I'd been the backbone nobody thanked. The scholarship girl who sent money home every month. The one who co-signed mortgages, paid insurance premiums, covered hospital bills. I'd sacrificed my own wedding fund to save Mama's house twice. And now this. The group chat told the real story. My brother Elijah had screenshotted it before they removed me. They'd been planning this for weeks. My sister Vanessa called me a self-righteous bitch for refusing to lie to her husband about her affair. Mama said I thought I was better than everyone because I got my degree. Daddy, the man who hadn't worked in 15 years while I paid his disability lawyers, said I was ungrateful. The final message from Aunt Carol cut deepest. Good riddance. You were always too uppity anyway. We'll split her money between us now. If you've ever been the family ATM, you know this pain. Drop a comment below. Have you ever been taken for granted by the people who should love you most? I didn't cry. Something colder settled in my chest. I opened my laptop and started making a list. 3 years earlier I'd been so proud. Fresh out of grad school, landing that corporate finance position. $68,000 a year felt like winning the lottery. I remember calling Mama breathless with joy. Baby, that's wonderful, she'd said. Then after exactly 4 seconds, your brother's truck broke down. Can you send $300 for the repair? I sent $500. Always did. Nobody asked about my job after that first call. Not about the long hours, the racist boss who called me articulate, like it was a compliment. The way I meal prepped on Sundays because I couldn't afford both their bills and eating out. When I brought home my boyfriend Devin, a gentleman who taught middle school, Daddy said, that's the best you could do. Man can't even afford a real suit. Devin left 6 months later. Your family drains you, he'd said quietly. There's nothing left for us. I'd chosen them over him. God, I was stupid. The memories flooded back now at 1:15 a.m. Every birthday where my gift was helping with someone's rent. Every holiday spent working extra shifts to fund their celebrations while I ate ramen alone. The time I broke my arm and didn't tell anyone because Vanessa needed money for her nail salon dream. The one that failed in 3 months. I'd enabled this. Fed the monster that just devoured me. My laptop glowed in the darkness. I pulled up spreadsheets I'd been too afraid to examine closely. The numbers made me physically ill. Over 8 years I'd given them $186,000. They threw me away like trash. I've always been meticulous with records. Occupational hazard of my finance degree. Every transaction, every signed document, every text message promising, I'll pay you back, sis. I had it all. Now I understood why I'd kept everything. Some part of me always knew. The house Mama lived in. My name on the deed as co-owner. The paperwork said she needed me to qualify for the mortgage after Daddy's credit went to hell from his gambling phase nobody talks about. I'd been making those payments for 6 years. $1,847 monthly, never late once. Elijah's truck, the one he loved more than his own kids? Title loan in my name. He'd begged me 3 years ago, promised he just needed help getting established in his new job. That job lasted 5 weeks. I'd been paying $340 monthly since. The life insurance policies. Oh, that was rich. Mama had convinced me to take out policies on both her and Daddy 5 years back. Just in case something happens, baby. You know we can't afford the premiums. I was paying $680 monthly. I checked the beneficiaries already knowing what I'd find. Every single policy listed Vanessa and Elijah as primary beneficiaries. My name wasn't even mentioned as contingent. I was funding their inheritance. Aunt Carol's medical bills from her diabetes complications? I'd been sending $500 monthly to her pharmacy. The texts where she called me uppity were sent from an iPhone 15 Pro Max that I'd bought her for her birthday. If you're watching this, check your family's paperwork. Really check it. Sometimes love makes us blind to exploitation. The clock showed 2:33 a.m. I started drafting emails. My company had an emergency line for financial services. I'd never called it before. I was always too busy solving my family's emergencies. The woman who answered was kind, professional. She didn't judge when I explained what I needed. I need to understand my legal position on several properties and financial obligations, I said, my voice steadier than I expected. And I need to know it before business hours start. She connected me to a lawyer on retainer. By 3:45 a.m. I knew exactly where I stood. The house. I could force a sale immediately. My equity stake was actually 68% based on payment history. The truck? Repossession was within my rights after 90 days of non-payment from the primary user. The insurance policies? I could cancel and reclaim some cash value. But the foreclosure notices, those required strategic timing and one specific legal maneuver. See, Mama had refinanced twice using my credit and co-signature, always swearing she'd take over payments soon. She never did. But those refinances meant she'd sign documents committing to maintain the property and make timely payments, or face immediate action from any deed holder. I'd buried myself in legal jargon for 4 hours, making absolutely sure. Then I drafted the notice of intent to foreclose based on breach of co-ownership agreement. It was legal. It was brutal. It was exactly what they'd earned. The lawyer spoke carefully. Miss Brown, I have to ask, are you certain? This will destroy relationships permanently. I laughed, sharp and bitter. They destroyed it first. At 12:47 a.m. via text message. I'm just making it official. The paperwork would hit the county recorder's office at 8 a.m. December 24th. They'd wake up to foreclosure notices on Christmas Eve. At 4:30 a.m. I called the insurance companies. Automated systems are beautiful things. No judgment, no questions about family loyalty, just press 1 to cancel your policy. 7 policies gone in 20 minutes. The cancellation confirmations would arrive via mail in 3 to 5 business days. But the coverage? Terminated immediately. I'd reclaim about $12,000 in cash value. They'd never see a penny. Elijah's truck was trickier. The title loan company was closed, but their website had a form, report vehicle misuse by primary operator. I documented everything. The missed payments, the promises broken, the text message disowning me. I attached screenshots. Then I filed for immediate repossession based on financial hardship and non-payment by the vehicle's primary user. The tow truck would arrive at his house around 9 a.m. Christmas Eve morning. His kids would watch. That thought made me pause. Those babies didn't deserve this. But then I remembered, Elijah's daughter Jania had a birthday last month. She turned 7. I'd sent a card with $50. Vanessa told me later that Elijah spent it on lottery tickets and beer. He didn't even give his child the card. Fuck him. The bank accounts were next. Every automatic payment I'd set up, cancelled. Mama's utilities, Daddy's streaming services, Vanessa's gym membership she used twice, Carol's pharmacy autopay. Gone, gone, gone. I documented everything in a folder labeled Family Investment Portfolio, closed. Professional to the end. At 5:15 a.m. I sent one email to my property lawyer. Execute the foreclosure notice. No delays, no mercy. His response came instantly. Done. May God have mercy on them because the courts won't. Share this if you've ever had to choose yourself over people who took your love for granted. The first call came at 6:47 a.m. Mama. I let it ring. Then Daddy. Then Elijah, Vanessa, and 17 calls from numbers I didn't recognize. Probably Aunt Carol and various cousins mobilized to guilt me. I was drinking coffee, Watching the sun rise over the city I'd stayed in solely because it was close enough to help family. My phone was on silent, just watching the screen light up over and over like a desperate fireworks show. At 7:30 a.m. the voicemails started. I shouldn't have listened. But I needed to hear it. Mama, crying, "Baby, please, there's papers here about the house. They're saying we have to leave. This can't be real. Call me back. I know you're upset, but this is too far. Too far." I'd kept my rage so buried that even my therapist didn't know its depths. But that phrase, too far, it detonated something. I listened to Elijah next. "You petty bitch. My truck is gone. Tow truck woke up my whole neighborhood." Jania is crying. "You really gonna hurt your own niece over some bullshit? This is why nobody likes you. You're dead to us. Dead to him." The same words, just angrier now that there were consequences. Vanessa's voicemail was 48 seconds of screaming and crying. I caught phrases, "vindictive," "you'll burn in hell," over a goddamn text message, and finally, "we were just mad, we didn't mean it literally." They didn't mean it. The war cry of people who've never faced accountability. If you've ever been called dramatic for enforcing boundaries, comment below. You're not alone. At 8:12 a.m. my phone rang from an unknown number. I answered this one. "Is this Naomi Brown?" A woman's voice, professional. Speaking. "This is County Recorder's Office. Your foreclosure notice has been filed and stamped. Official copies have been mailed to the property address. Have a blessed day." It was done. I need you to understand why that text message destroyed something irreparable. Let me take you back 18 months. I've been dating again. His name was Julian and he made me laugh. Really laugh, not that polite chuckle I gave my family when Daddy made jokes about my bourgeois job. Julian was an architect with kind eyes and hands that built beautiful things. He wanted to meet my family. I should have said no. The dinner was at Mama's house, the one I was paying for. I'd cooked half the food because Mama's arthritis was acting up, though she'd been fine enough to get her nails done that morning. Julian brought wine and flowers, so polite it hurt. Daddy took one look at him and snorted. Another one. "Naomi going through men like she going through paychecks. You might wanna run, young man." The table went quiet. Julian smiled, uncomfortable. I felt myself shrinking. Vanessa leaned forward, grinning cruel. "Oh, she didn't tell you? Our sister thinks she's too good for family, too good for the neighborhood. Probably told you we were trash, right? That why you dressed up so fancy?" "I didn't, I never said that," I whispered. Elijah laughed. "You don't gotta say it, sis. It's in every look you give us. Every time you help, with money like your Lady Bountiful." Julian reached for my hand under the table. I pulled away. Some part of me believed them in that moment. The dinner ended with Mama asking Julian what he earned. When he politely deflected, she said, "Naomi needs a man who can support her expensive tastes. She wasn't raised to work so hard." I paid the mortgage that month from my hospital bed after I stress collapsed at work. Julian never called again. That was my breaking point, I just didn't know it yet. At 9:45 a.m. my cousin Shanice called. We'd been close as children before life and family politics divided us. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. "Don't hang up," she said immediately. "I'm not calling to guilt you. I'm calling because I saw the group chat before they deleted it. Naomi, I saw everything they said about you." My throat tightened. And they're worse than I thought. I knew they took advantage, but Jesus, nay. The things Vanessa said about you. I'm so sorry. I should have defended you. I should have said something years ago. I hadn't expected this. Why didn't you? Shanice was quiet for a long moment. Because it was easier not to. Because calling them out meant they'd turn on me too. Because I benefited sometimes. Remember when you helped with my tuition that semester? They convinced me you were just doing well and could afford it. I didn't realize you were drowning. I never told anyone I was drowning, I admitted. My coffee had gone cold. That's the problem, cousin. You suffered in silence while they spent loud. Now they're acting shocked that you finally broke. The whole family's blowing up. Aunt Carol's crying on Facebook about how you're heartless. Elijah is threatening to show up at your job. Let him try. And your mama is telling everyone you've had a mental breakdown. She's playing victim hard, nay. They're rewriting history, making you the villain who suddenly went crazy over nothing. If you've ever been gaslit by family, hit the like button. Sometimes the truth needs witnesses. I gripped my phone harder. What do you think happened, Shanice? Honestly, I think they pushed you until you fell, then got mad when you didn't fall the way they wanted. I think you're the sanest one in this whole toxic mess. I started crying then. Not from sadness, from relief. Someone saw me. Finally, someone saw me. By 2 p.m. they'd organized. Mama called from Aunt Carol's phone, putting me on speaker before I could hang up. I heard at least 6 people breathing. Naomi, baby, we're all here because we love you. Mama's voice dripped false sweetness. We know you're going through something and we want to help. This anger you're feeling, it's not healthy. Read the text message, I interrupted. Read it out loud to everyone there. Silence. Mama, read the text you sent me at 12:47 a.m. The one where you said I'm dead to you. Where you all agreed to disown me. Read it. Baby, we were upset you were being stubborn about Vanessa's situation. Read the text. Daddy's voice boomed. Now you listen here, little girl. We raised you, fed you, clothed you. You don't get to disrespect your mother. Family forgives. This vendetta you got going is the devil's work. I laughed and it sounded unhinged even to me. You didn't feed me. I've been feeding you for 8 years. You didn't clothe me. I put myself through school on scholarships while you pawned my graduation watch for gambling money. Don't you dare rewrite history. See? Vanessa's voice cut in. This is what I'm talking about. She's been holding grudges, keeping score like some kind of psycho. Normal people don't track every little thing. Every little thing? I have spreadsheets, Vanessa. I've given this family $186,000. You know what I have to show for it? A text message at midnight disowning me. Someone gasped. Probably cousin Denise, who only showed up for holiday drama. Elijah jumped in. Yeah, and you made sure we'd suffer for it, didn't you? My kids are traumatized. You had my truck repossessed in front of my children on Christmas Eve. I had the truck I was paying for returned to the rightful owner. Me. If this story resonates, subscribe for more real talk about toxic family dynamics. The call erupted into chaos. Multiple people yelling, accusations flying. Then Mama's voice cut through. I'm your mother. I carried you. You owe me. And there was the truth they'd always believed. I owe you nothing, I said quietly. Not anymore. I hung up. Blocked every number. The silence afterward was deafening and beautiful. By Christmas morning the whole neighborhood knew. In our community, family business spreads faster than gospel. My phone buzzed with messages from people I hadn't spoken to in years. Some were vicious. Sister Jenkins from church. You should be ashamed. The Bible says honor thy father and mother. Your blessings will dry up for this wickedness. But others surprised me. Mr. Patterson, who'd watched me grow up. I seen what you done for them, baby girl. Seen you working 3 jobs that one summer while your brother sat on the porch. You gave them enough. Sometimes the only way people learn is when they fall. My old coworker Denise, girl, finally. We've been watching you drain yourself for years. Come through for wine tonight. You need people who actually love you. Most shocking was Miss Beverly, Mama's oldest friend. She called me directly. Naomi, I'm going to tell you something I should have said years ago. Her voice was heavy. Your mama has been bragging about how she trained you right, her words. She tells people she raised you to take care of the family like that was her plan all along. She's proud of having you as a resource. Like you're not even a person to her. The words confirmed my darkest fear. I hadn't been their daughter or sister. I'd been their plan. She's calling me heartless, I whispered. Baby, there's a difference between heartless and having boundaries. Your heart's been too big for too long. They're just mad it ain't theirs to bleed anymore. Comment below. Have you ever been called selfish for practicing self-care? Your story matters. The messages kept coming. For every person calling me evil, 2 more shared their own stories of family exploitation. I wasn't alone. I'd never been alone. I'd just been too ashamed to look for fellow survivors. By evening, I'd blocked 53 numbers and felt lighter than I had in years. Christmas night, I wrote them a letter I'd never mail. My therapist said I needed to externalize the pain. So I sat at my kitchen table with wine and truth. Dear family, you want to know when you lost me? It wasn't at 12:47 a.m. on December 24th. That was just when you finally said out loud what your actions had screamed for years. You lost me when Daddy told Devin I wasn't worth loving because he couldn't bankroll your lifestyle. You lost me when Mama forgot my birthday 3 years straight but never missed asking for rent money. You lost me every time Elijah called me his favorite bank, and Vanessa nicknamed me Im. But I stayed. God help me, I stayed. Because I thought family meant something. Because Mama told me strong black women hold the family together. Because I believed that sacrifice was love. You taught me my value was in my wallet. That my accomplishments mattered only for what they could provide you. When I graduated magna cum laude, you asked if that meant I got a raise. When I got promoted, you immediately needed new tires. When I cried about Devin leaving, you asked if I could still make the mortgage payment. I was never your daughter. I was your retirement plan. Your emergency fund. Your backup option. And when I finally said no, when I dared to have boundaries about Vanessa's affair, about lying to her husband, about being complicit in her betrayal, you discarded me. Like I was never family at all. So I made it official. I closed the bank. I foreclosed on the house of cards we'd built where my money propped up your lies. You called it vindictive. I call it freedom. I hope the foreclosure hurts. I hope you struggle. Not because I'm cruel, but because you need to understand what I sacrificed every single day to prevent your struggles. You need to feel what I felt, what it's like to have no safety net, no backup plan, no one to call. Maybe then you'll understand what you threw away wasn't a wallet. It was a person who loved you. But probably not. Goodbye. I folded it, put it in an envelope and burned it in my sink. Watched the smoke carry away 8 years of hope that they'd change. Some people aren't meant to be family. Some people are just lessons in what not to accept. If this story is helping you process your own family trauma, please share it. Someone needs to hear they're not wrong for walking away. 3 days after Christmas, Mama left one last voicemail. I should have deleted it without listening, but I was still bleeding from wounds I was pretending were healed. Her voice was different this time. Smaller. Naomi, the bank came today. They gave us 30 days to vacate the house. Your daddy won't stop crying. He keeps asking what we're gonna do, where we're gonna go, and I don't have no answers, baby. Elijah's wife left him. Took the kids to her mother's. Said she can't trust a man who can't even keep a vehicle, can't provide for his family. He's staying in the house now too, sleeping on the couch. All of us here watching everything fall apart. Vanessa's husband found out about her affair. He's filing for divorce. She's here too, crying in your old bedroom. The one we turned into storage after you moved out. She keeps saying this is all your fault, that you ruined her life by not keeping her secret. But baby, I know it's not your fault. I know I. She trailed off. I heard Daddy yelling in the background, something about me being a ungrateful snake. Mama's voice returned, harder now. The softness gone. You know what? Never mind. I was gonna apologize, but why should I? You're my child. Children take care of their parents. That's how it's supposed to work. We gave you life. You owed us. But fine. You want to be free of us? You're free. When we're homeless, when your nieces and nephews are suffering, when your daddy's heart gives out from stress, that's on your soul. That's your burden to carry. I hope it was worth it. The voicemail ended. I played it again. And again. Listening for the apology that almost came, that died before it could be born. She'd been so close to seeing me as human. Then Daddy's voice reminded her I was supposed to be an ATM. I saved the voicemail. Not for guilt, I was done with guilt. But as evidence. Proof that I'd been right about what I was to them. Some mothers birth children. Others birth obligations. Mine never learned the difference. I deleted her number. For real this time. Today marks 6 months since that midnight text. I moved to a different city, one they don't know about. Changed my number. Built a life that's quiet and mine. I'm dating someone new. Her name is Adrian, and she's a teacher who volunteers at women's shelters. When I told her my story, she didn't call me heartless. She held me while I cried and said, "You did what they never taught you to do. You chose yourself." I've been in therapy twice a week, learning that love shouldn't cost everything. That family isn't supposed to be a debt that never gets paid off. That I was never the villain in this story. I was just the only one brave enough to end it. The house was foreclosed. They're living separately now with various relatives who are probably learning what I already knew. Elijah got a job, finally. Manual labor that doesn't pay enough for the lifestyle he wanted. Vanessa's divorce finalized. Mama and Daddy are in a senior apartment that Aunt Carol helps with, and she's probably drowning in the same debt I was. I don't feel triumphant. I feel tired. And sad. And free. I grieve the family I thought I had. The one where my sacrifices meant something, where love was real instead of transactional. That family never existed. I was just too hopeful to see it. But I'm building something new. A chosen family of friends who show up without asking for money. A career I'm excelling at because I'm not exhausted from 2 jobs. A relationship with someone who thinks I'm enough exactly as I am. No wallet required. Someone asked me recently if I regret it. The foreclosure, the repossessions, the scorched earth. I looked at my bank account. At the savings I'm building for me. At the therapy bills I can afford. At my face in the mirror, no longer hollow with exhaustion. No, I said. I regret that it took a midnight text to make me value myself as much as I valued them. To everyone watching this who's carrying family members who won't walk on their own, you're allowed to put them down. You're allowed to save yourself. You're allowed to stop drowning so they can float. It doesn't make you heartless. It makes you human. They texted me at midnight that I was no longer family. By dawn I made it official. And you know what? They were right about one thing. I'm not their family anymore. I'm finally my own. If this story moved you, please like, subscribe, and share. Drop a comment about your own journey with toxic family dynamics. Remember, boundaries aren't betrayal. They're survival. And you deserve to survive.